had a dream, very lucid dream, that I walked into a movie theater. Nobody was in there except one other person. And as I got closer, I realized the other person was me. The other version of myself said, "We're about to watch a movie that you made, so pay attention, and when you wake up, grab a pen and paper and write everything down." And I watched the whole movie, and I woke up in a fury and just spent about 2-3 hours writing everything I could remember. It wasn't until about 5 years after that that the iPhone really started getting good. And I was in a car with a friend of mine, and we were just chatting about art and music, and he said, "You know, one day somebody's gonna make a movie on an iPhone." And then it was in that moment I said, "Yep, I'm gonna be that guy." My name is Anthony Natoli, and I'm a filmmaker from Valley Stream, New York, Long Island. And I've been making a movie called Sunday, Sunday, Sunday for about 10 years. It's all shot on an iPhone. So the movie's called Sunday, Sunday, Sunday because it all takes place on a Sunday. I don't think there's a scene in the movie that isn't on a Sunday. Sunday is when you drag race. Sunday is when you go to church. And I remember being a kid and having to choose, are we going racing today? Or are we going to church? And if you were going racing, you really weren't going to church. I wanted the characters to be like kids from church that are kind of breaking the rules. I mean, they're not good guys. They lie, cheat, and steal to get where they go. And there's a scene in the film where we talk about going to the racetrack instead of going to church. And we say, oh, it's a different kind of church. We pray it doesn't rain. And that's the truth.
Yeah, it's just a different kind of church. We pray it doesn't rain.
I've never looked at myself as an actor or wanted to be an actor. I was really trying to cast my role. I was trying to get somebody else to be this character, and I guess I couldn't really find the right person. I had met Ed Burns. He grew up on my street, in fact. When I was talking to him one day, he said, "Cast yourself, because you will always be there. You will always be there to save the day when your friends and family don't show up for you, because it will happen." And then when he kind of said that, I was like, I guess that's what I've been looking for myself to do it.
What?
But the casting was really easy because as I was writing the script out and really developing the characters and the storyline, it was very apparent who like 90% of these people should be.
I actually know Anthony because we played in the same band, but never at the same time. So we knew each other through social media mainly and through mutual friends, and then he reached out to me one day, said, you know, I see all your creative endeavors, why don't you come make a movie with me? And I was like, hell yeah.
I probably should have been surprised, but I wasn't at all, because we've come to expect these things from Anthony over the years.
Yeah, I met Anthony years ago, probably like 9-10 years ago, at a shop in our village, Sip This, and we became friends pretty instantly.
I guess it was sometime in 2017 when Anthony approached me in a parking lot at night and asked if I could perhaps take on this role in his movie that he was writing. And I'm a ham, so I was like, of course, I'll do whatever you want. Just leave me alone.
I think I was originally cast partly from the way that I looked at that time. You know, I had long hair. I was, you know, I was a pretty young guy, you know, just kind of figuring out who I was in the world. Paul is a very reserved character, and he's kind of, you know, the follower. He's quiet. He's the comedic relief when the group needs it. You know, he's a team player, but he's not leading the team.
I said, all you have to do is sort of be yourself, and I'll give you the lines. And when they did that, they were comfortable. They were comfortable being themselves, maybe pushing it a little bit more. Mike Desmond being one of the bad guys, you know, he's a good guy. In my heart, in my eyes, and in my world, he's a good guy, but he really knows how to poke you. You know, he's funny like that. And I said, Mike, you know, I want you to be the bad guy. He goes, why, you think I'm a bad guy? I'm like, no, I think you're a good guy, and that's why you'd be a good bad guy.
I just wanted to report an illegal drag race going on. Yes, I said illegal. Definitely not legal. It is behind the cemetery.
Don't elaborate. Just say illegal.
No, just like,
I'm never afraid to push the limits and floor it when I need to. And I needed somebody that also could do that with the camera. It wasn't until I met James that I realized what I could do.
Cool. Yeah, so my name is James Morano. I wore a lot of different hats in this film. I did drone, I did editing, I did coloring, did some title work, did a lot of shooting, even a lot of little directing things.
In the early stages of the film, it was just me, and then I had a couple of friends that had camera experience. What happened was we were going up to Pennsylvania to go shoot one day, and I had the guy that was coming out to help me with drone stuff, and he canceled last minute.
I've always knew Anthony Natoli from the music scene, and basically I was able to put a face to the name when somebody recommended me to go up to his racetrack and shoot some drone stuff.
And all of a sudden I get a message, hey, what's up, man? You're shooting on Filmic Pro? You're making a movie on an iPhone? That's cool. I didn't have to introduce it. Like, he already somehow did the homework before I even met him.
I'm kind of like a camera nerd, so I'm like, oh, on an iPhone, but after actually like going up there and having the camera, having the phone on a gimbal, now I call it a camera, it's not even a phone to me anymore. Having it on a gimbal and playing with Filmic Pro and looking at all the options and comparing it to my knowledge in real cinema cameras, I'm like, wow.
I would give James the third best shot that I could think of in a scene so that I had coverage. You know, we'd have about 3 cameras going. And I'd look at everybody's footage and be like, okay, that's pretty good. But what James was doing from like nothing within the back of the room kind of thing, I was like, all right, you're number one now. You're holding the camera.
Where do you want me today, boss?
The starting line. Don't blow it.
I could do that.
When Anthony said it was going to be shot on an iPhone, I got even more excited. I was like, you're crazy, and I love exactly how crazy you are, Mr. Natoli. I'm on board. I want it. I want in.
When Anthony told me he was going to film an entire movie on a cell phone, on an iPhone, I honestly thought, well, if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be you, and am I going to be in it?
I didn't really think much of it, honestly. It was very on brand for him, and I thought there's really nobody else for the job better than Anthony.
I shoot everything on my phone, so I don't know what my problem was back then. I used to think you could only do it on cameras.
I thought, man, this is awesome. This can really push the boundaries of what simple technology can do, and put it in the hands of the everyday person.
I think the fact that people can make movies on their phone or even music or albums on their phone, it levels the playing field for people. It gives everyone a chance to make what they want to and have a chance to have it be seen or heard.
The strong suits of shooting with an iPhone is it's in your pocket. What you can do with that device is like night and day. Putting it in places, taping it to the front of a car and just driving as fast as you can, putting it on the ground and driving a car over it. The process of making a film on the iPhone and doing some of the rogue shit we did gave me a sense of like, it's not always about having the best toys.
Man, imagine making a movie that looks like it was shot in 1974 on an iPhone. That'd be pretty cool. Beyond that, I wanted, let's try to be bold and only have cars that are pre-1974 in the film and really be conscious of that fact. At no point in time do we give you a date. At no point in time do we indicate to you when this is being shot. It very well could have been 2022. It could have very well been 1974. It could have very well been 1958, you know, but that's for you to determine if we did a good enough job on, you know.
As mediocre as a town as Valley Stream might seem to some people, I feel like aesthetically it's a really cool place to shoot stuff. Like we have like a cool downtown area that could play as either something from like modern times or even like, 20, 30, 40 years ago. It's also important to try to put your hometown on the map if you can.
I wanted to not only tell the character story, but a little bit of my story and take people to the backdrops of my life that felt like I was in a movie. I grew up in Valley Stream, New York, down the block from Ed Burns, and they shot a movie called The Brothers McMullen in the house on the corner of my street. We went to Ancona's Pizza because I grew up eating Ancona's Pizza. We shot over at Ickens, the diner over here on Rockaway Avenue.
Ancona Pizza, Ickens, Sip This, where I hung out every single day.
We shot at All American Burger out in Massapequa.
I never thought I would film a movie in the parking lot of All American Burger and stuff my face with cheeseburgers for my friend.
And then it was like, Ocean Parkway, and then it was Montauk Point, which Montauk, one of my subjects as me as an artist is Montauk and all around Montauk and the lighthouse.
Living on Long Island, I mean, everyone knows Sunrise Highway and Montauk, and that whole montage, it just takes you home.
We shot in this garage. We used my grandmother's garage. We shot in pretty much any place that would have us, because that's what you got to do at a certain point. We just tell people, yeah, we're making a car movie on an iPhone. Do you want to be a part of it? And then 5 guys would show up with their classic cars and, park them across the street and make the whole street feel like 1974. And we didn't pay for anything. We just asked people, you want to come out and be a part of it and help us out because it's a little project. And it made it easy. It made it easy to do it. And also casting the right car, I think, was a big help. So the car was an important member of the team to cast. I watched this thing online. They talked about hero cars in movies always being white 2-doors, right? And there's a great movie called Vanishing Point from the 70s that has a Dodge Challenger that's white and it's running from the cops in the desert. And I was like, man, I want the opposite end of it. I wanted an embarrassing looking car. So I was looking for a brown Dart 4-door. I was looking for like the grossest looking wacky junker that you could find. And I actually had trouble finding one. And it just happened to be snowing one night and I was at home on Craigslist looking and this car popped up and I went, ooh, a white 2-door Dodge Dart. It looks junky, but it looks like it could turn into something else, Cinderella, And I went in a snowstorm. I walked up, I drove this car, and in 5 minutes I paid the guy and I was out there because I was like, this is the car. I knew it.
So I think there's a rawness to the movie, and it's not about having the baddest, coolest, polished car and pulling up like a rock star. The Dart in the movie, it's rusted up. It's not even totally white. It's been through it, kind of like the emotional story behind the brothers.
And every character actually in the film has a car that's casted to them. So Skip, who's played by Mike Desmond, has multiple Corvettes because his dad owns a Chevy dealership.
Fuck you, Monte Cavo. Get a real car.
And, the Shannon McBride, who's the love interest, has a little red Volkswagen Beetle with the convertible, And Mark Erickson, who's my best friend in the movie, has a freaking gold Nova. He's got his own shop. He's kind of who we want to be like.
I was lucky enough that my grandfather's Ford pickup truck that he bought back in 1965 was in the movie as Sal's truck.
Being surrounded by that energy, those loud engines, and being on the real track with the real racers in the real cars, that was just complete insanity. We had the real thing in front of us.
I want the real car culture. I want the guys that actually have taken their car down the track to watch this and go, that's my experience. Because I grew up racing with nothing. Because my family, we would pull up and be towing our little car behind our little truck that we had, and we're pulling up next to people who have a semi with 2 cars in it, and a sponsor and money, and we were always the underdog guys. So I was like, I don't want to make a movie about that guy. I want to make a movie about these guys. The guys that, you know, they're working in their garage, they're backyard mechanics. This is a love letter to them. This is a love letter to Long Island and the sport itself. For me, I guess I wanted to go 50-50. I actually wanted to make a movie that had substance, a movie that had a good storyline, and an arc that met you somewhere else from where it started. But I also wanted there to be enough cool shit in there for car guys to be like, that was awesome.
I definitely love the chase scene. It's just the most rock and roll thing. The music is like exactly right up my alley.
The chase scene took about 3 years total to shoot because of technical errors. We went out and we shot like almost the whole scene, only to find that the footage got corrupted and we couldn't get it, which is really a bummer, especially when you're pushing the car to its limits a little bit. But at the end of the day, sometimes when you have to push really hard to get something, it winds up being like your favorite thing.
5 years of shooting, we may have went back to a scene and said, let's reshoot this little piece that'll punch in.
You know, it wasn't like, oh, we shot this scene and then we were done 5 years ago. We shot up until like 6 months ago, the very last things, and they're butting up against things that were done 5 years ago. And I think we almost shot the entire film on Sundays. Maybe 4 or 5% of the movie wasn't shot on a Sunday, which is not unintentional. It just happened. Everybody was always free on Sundays.
It was like a summer camp for adults like in our 30s.
I had the most fun. It felt like I was at a sleepaway camp.
It was just this really fun, awesome bonding experience for everybody. And we just had the time of our lives. Like, I really remember filming that whole weekend and just like, I wanted to go back the following weekend and do it again.
The camaraderie on set really reminded me of growing up on the stage, and it hit close to home.
It was a community project, and it wasn't just some actors making it. It was everybody.
I couldn't be there for everything, and it like bummed me out. I wanted to be a part of this movie almost 100%.
And I met some of the greatest people ever in my life, and we got to make a movie just hanging out. That feeling, to me, is unmatched. That is what life is about.
We had a lot of fun on set, you know, on and off camera. You know, most of us are musicians, and we were singing and dancing and eating and hanging out and joking around and, you know, just enjoying our time together. You know, it really felt like a family working with everybody.
Since then, I've gotten married to Mark Erickson, who's also in the film. He plays Murph. And we have a beautiful daughter, so we're now parents. We were not parents when we shot the film, so we were still having lots of fun. And it's really cool watching it now. It's kind of like this little time capsule that we all have that we can look back on and just kind of remember this time in our lives.
Each of the scenes we were in, we were a year older. Like during the making of the prologue scene in the beginning of the film, I was 15 and you were how old? 9?
Not even sure. It was so long ago, like 5 years ago.
You know, a lot of stuff happened during the filming of this movie that was life-changing. And, you know, it just seems so weird. It almost took on, it was like having a child before I had a child.
I mean, it was almost like a second life, like same where we grew up together, you know? Yeah.
I mean, our lives have changed since the movie because, well, first of all, I was in middle school when we started the first scene. Now I'm in college. And you were in elementary school?
Elementary school, yeah. And
what grade are you in now?
Now I'm a sophomore in high school.
You know, so much had happened that like I felt like I watched a whole lifetime go by.
I definitely appreciate what Anthony did with this film and bringing everybody together and just having like the opportunity to say, we made a movie, because that doesn't come to everybody.
No dream is too big, especially when you have really good friends and an entire community that supports you and wants to see you succeed. You can really do anything.
Let's make a movie. And if it's the worst movie anybody's ever seen, that's okay. But look at all the stuff we learned. Look at all the cool things we were able to achieve. And now we have this little product, and we have friendships and things that have blossomed from it.
I grew up an only child. I mean, I have a lot of cousins and a lot of friends, and they're like siblings to me, but being a part of something where, in a way, I actually have a birth brother really feels like something.
This is the saddest part of the whole thing in a way, because it's like we were saying goodbye to making something, and the adventure of making it sometimes is so much more fun than the actual product.
It's pretty crazy what you can do when you just decide to let go and go for it. And Anthony showed us all that that is possible.
My biggest takeaway from this was immediately I said, what are we doing next? I hope someone one day watches it like I watched Stand By Me, or I watched The Sandlot, and just thought, these kids are so much cooler. Like, I want to be like that. Like, that's so cool.
But it was almost like Rocky. Like, I'm not a fighter, I'm not a boxer, but you love that movie, you feel that movie. And Sunday, Sunday, Sunday did the same thing. Even though I'm not a car person, I totally can relate to it. I could totally see where it's coming from, even though it's a whole different world. It's a really car. Anyone who's into cars is gonna love this movie.
That's what a good movie is supposed to have. It's supposed to have scenes that make people laugh, make people cry, like frighten people a little bit. A movie that will make the audience feel just about every emotion there is.
I'm fucking blown away by how the iPhone footage looks in the end and what we were able to do with it. And I know Anthony was doing this. We were kind of beating ourselves up in like how some of the footage looked until we sat down and worked through all the color. And then in the end, we're like, this feels good. And I definitely recommend, if you are gonna shoot something on an iPhone, spend a little extra money, get Filmic Pro. It helps your shots look better, and it helps you control the camera. But other than that, I mean, just take the fucking thing out and just shoot what you want to shoot with it.
Thank you for everything you did to help make this film come to be. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you made it till the end. And if you did, I hope you see what I was going for. I hope you see all the difficulties we had. I hope you, when you see the problem in the film, that you know that we didn't want it. You know, we really tried to make it the best thing it possibly could. And Sunday, Sunday, Sunday exists because you're sitting there watching it, and that was what it was for entertainment, to have fun. I sure as hell had a lot of fun making it, and I hope more people enjoy watching it as much as we had making it. Cool?